knowledge do you think this research could help to identify?
The question is, do we need it? Is there value? And so then that's the question I've been trying to answer with this research is inherent value analysis. Is the amount paid worth the perceived or actual benefit? And right now the results are extremely encouraging, and it certainly takes us in the right direction as providing not only proving value, but demonstrating why there's value. And I think that's more important than just someone saying there is. Someone then just looking at cost and saying, oh, it cost this amount of money. Maybe we saved this amount of money, maybe we didn't, but we made this amount of money in the surgery, so it balances out. It's more detailed. The nuances are really important. It's more about not the cost of the surgery itself, but actually even costs averted. Costs averted from a major complication in that surgery and what happens downstream during the hospitalization, or even a repeat recurrent surgery from a complication. So it's more nuanced. Looking long-term is important. One of the biggest frustrations I have is that payers, for the most part, like to look at 1 year and 2 years at most. We learned this a long time ago because most people subscribe to a health insurance plan and they stay in that plan for 2.1 years. That was the recent data. So from a payer's perspective, they don't care what happens after 2 years because the person leaves. They're no longer subscribed to the plan. And it's a very hard argument to sort of go into a discussion, and really fight against, because they're not wrong, but I'm looking at it from more of a public health perspective, that we do need to look long-term, and that the system over 10 years, if the system is saved because of something as simple as intraoperative monitoring and the value and the price that it was at that very moment, that's not insignificant, shouldn't be ignored. Nonetheless, I respect their perspective, and we're trying to prove early savings and early improvement in quality of life, or at least disability averted. We're trying to prove that there was no increase in that disability as a result. So I'm optimistic that this will be a very, very important first step in showing the cost effectiveness and dominance of things like intraoperative monitoring, and that the stripping down really needs to be tempered, or at least if we're going to continue with that. And I'm okay with making sure we're parsimonious, making sure we're frugal, making sure we're appropriate, but then make the right choices. Just don't be random, right? Let's let the data drive those decisions. And that's what we're all about. And that's why I've been working with MPOWER, is let the data. MPOWER has been great at collecting data. And that's where we've actually lacked in a lot of the intraoperative monitoring in the past, is that we didn't have data. And so MPOWER has had this data, and we've been fortunate enough to use this very large data set to create very robust models to inform us and tell us, you know what, maybe intraoperative monitoring is not needed for some cases, and maybe it's absolutely critical for others, or maybe there's a balance. But we cannot make decisions in the operating room haphazardly. It needs to be evidence-based. It needs to be data-driven.